We're going to build a report manually by using the query for our report query. We choose Create from the ribbon, and we don't use the report wizard as we would have done in a previous course. We're going to use the report design. This gives us a blank report which has the sections page header, page footer. Anything you put in those go at the top and bottom of every page, and then anything that gets placed in the detail section is repeated per record. Now we can just move this over a little bit to say we want to fit everything on an A4 page. We first of all have to tell it which of our tables or queries this report is going to be based on. So we bring up the property sheet for the report. Make sure it says report at the top there. The record source is going to be the query for our report. We then click on the button Add Existing Fields, and that shows us the fields including the calculated field that we created in the query. We're going to select all of these and drag these into the detail section. We then want to place all of the labels into the page header, and the reason being is we don't want these to be repeated, only the records. So we leave the fields and we're going to select all of the labels, and we'll do a cut, Control X, click in the page header, Control V to paste. We'll then lay these out by pushing them up against the page header bar. Now if we need to move any of these, we can do a multiple select and we can move them if we wish. We may want to give a bit more space to the product itself. Once we've done this, we can pull up the detail bar. That's this bar here. You grab the top edge and you pull it up. We may want to format these labels at the top here. So if we click to select all of the labels, we can then apply the format from the format ribbon to maybe make it bold and change the color to pure black. We can now move the fields so they push against the detail bar. Company name will go under the company name. The order ID under the order ID, and we can resize this as it's far too big. Remember, the order ID just has a few numbers. The order date we can place under here, and we may want to keep that size, so we can do a little bit of manipulation here by moving these fields over just a little bit. Now the quantity field, the label itself, we can change by just clicking inside and abbreviating it to QTY. That way we can resize that and move that across. Quantity is only going to hold a maximum of say 4 digits, so we don't need that as wide as that. The product ID can be pulled up and the field stretched. The unit price, again we can resize this, and finally the value can go at the end as such. Now you would spend a bit of time laying out this because this will be your final report layout. Now we can close up this gap here. Remember, this gap in the detail section dictates the amount of space between each record. So I'm going to grab the page footer bar down the bottom here along its top edge, pull it up, and that will dictate the spacing between each record. Now if we have a quick preview of this, and if we look down in the bottom right, this is the design view we're in at the moment. I want to get a print preview, and one of the buttons down here is called print preview. Now remember, we based our report on our query. Our query had what was called a parameter query. If you're not sure about this and you haven't viewed the previous video on creating a select query, then we suggest you do that. I need to enter in two dates. I'm going to put in the 1st of May 97 and the 25th of May 97 because I know those dates are in our database. And there you can see are all of the fields based on that date range on there. We can see all of those. Now straight away I can see there's a problem with the value here, so I might make a few adjustments on here. First of all, we'll adjust by going into layout view, and we can adjust the size of some of these. Now the order ID I'm going to adjust a little bit, move the order date over, the same with quantity, the product, the individual price probably doesn't need to be that wide. We can adjust that a little bit, and that makes it possible to widen this one here, the value, to show all of the figures there. And that is our report based on a query. Now at the moment, if you have a look at this report, I mean, it looks fairly good. Two things I want to do to change this. The first is that I've got alternating colours. You'll notice each row in my report has a white row and a grey row. I want to get rid of the alternating colour. I also want to get rid of the outline around each field. Now this will occur sometimes depending how you created your report or even a form. Now to remove these, we need to go back into design view. I'm then going to select all of the fields. As you can see, I've selected all of the fields. I'm then going to go up to my format ribbon and choose shape outline and choose transparent. That will make the borders around those fields transparent. I then want to click inside the detail section, not the fields. I'm clicking on the detail section, and then I'm going to change this alternate row color from the format ribbon to say no color. If we take a quick look at this, again we'll type in our regular date range, and there you can see the report looks a little bit neater, and if we zoom out we can see we have this. And the final thing I want to do is to put a title at the top of the report and some page numbering at the bottom. So we go back to design. In the page footer we can add page numbers. If you look on your design ribbon, there are page numbers. We click on there and we can choose the type of format, page 1 of however many, and I do want to put it at the bottom of the page in the footer, centered. Click OK. That puts the page number in. Now I said I want to put a report header, and we do this from our design ribbon. You'll see there's this button called title. When I click on that, it gives us a new section called report header and report footer. The report footer I don't need to see, so I'm going to grab the bottom of the page and pull that right up. Remember, whatever you type in the report header will only go on the first page of the report. It's not repeated on every page. I can then just change the title to say customer order report by date. If we then preview this, again put in a date range, maybe the 2nd of the 5th 97 to say the 20th of the 5th 97, and here we got our final report on there looking a lot neater. One final thing to finish off this video tutorial is the company name. It looks a little bit messy because where a customer has ordered multiple times, they appear multiple times on here. It'll be better if we only saw the company name once with a list of their orders following. To do this is very easy. All we do is we go back to Design View. On our Design ribbon, we click on Group and Sort. This opens up a panel down the bottom, and we want to add a group. When you click on that, it asks you which field do you want to group by. Now we want the company name. There you can see Group on Company Name with A on top, so it's going to be in alphabetical order, and that's it. Now one other thing we do like to do here is in this section here, the company name header. At the moment the company name field is here in the details section. Remember, anything placed in the details section gets repeated per record. We don't want the company name repeated multiple times. So we can move this into the company name header area, close up the gap, and now when we view this, put our date range in, you can see how much neater it looks in alphabetical order. Alas Limited and their orders, Bonap, their orders, and if we scroll down you can see the other company names in here as well with their particular orders as well, and that's called grouping a report. We can close this and save it, and we'll call it Report by Date. From now on, when somebody wants to view a report, they just open up the report. Because it's based on the query, it will automatically ask us for a start date, let's say the 1st of the 7th 97, going to the 15th of the 8th 97. And there's the report all ready for printing.